After 60, kindness is no longer a currency that guarantees love. Too many women spend their golden years trying to please men, smiling when they don't feel like it, agreeing when they'd rather speak up, forgiving when they should be walking away. But here's the truth. Men don't love you for your endless niceness. They revere boundaries, honesty, and a woman who values her own peace over keeping everyone else comfortable. Hi, welcome back to Journey After 60. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 4 powerful reasons why women after 60 must stop being too nice to men, and how letting go of this habit can transform both your dignity and your relationships. Before we dive in, if these words ring true for you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Journey After 60, and share it with another woman who deserves this reminder. That way, this wisdom stays close whenever you need it most. Now let's begin with the very first reason women over 60 must stop being too nice to men. And it's not about hardening your heart. It's about protecting the very core of your self-worth. Reason number 1. Niceness isn't respect. It's self-betrayal. By the time a woman reaches 60, she's lived through enough to know that always being the nice one rarely pays off. For years, many have swallowed their feelings, forced a polite smile, and gone along with what others wanted, all in the name of peace. But what does that peace really cost? The reality is, men don't value a woman more because she never says no. In fact, the more a woman bends to keep everyone comfortable, the quicker a man learns he can press further, test harder, and take more without fear of resistance. Niceness, when it has no boundary, doesn't invite love, it invites exploitation. A wise woman learns that niceness without limits isn't love, it's self-betrayal. It drains her dignity and teaches others that her needs come last. And after decades of carrying families, jobs, and heartbreaks, why should any woman in her 60s shrink herself just to keep a man comfortable? This doesn't mean becoming cruel or bitter. It means letting go of the false belief that harmony always requires sacrifice. Real harmony is built when both voices matter. If a man can't handle your no, your silence, or your unshakable standards, then he isn't worthy of your yes. Many women think they'll lose love by refusing to be endlessly agreeable. But in reality, the opposite happens. When you stop being nice at your own expense, you reclaim the strength men secretly admire but rarely admit. The strength to stand tall without apology. Niceness fades into the background. Respect leaves a lasting mark. And for men listening, don't misunderstand her firmness for hostility. When a woman over 60 draws a line, she's not shutting you out. She's showing you how to love her properly. If you can honor that strength, instead of resenting it, you'll discover a woman who is loyal, warm, and generous, not because she feels forced to be, but because she chooses to be. So the first truth women must face is this: niceness won't win you love after 60. Respect begins the moment you stop giving yourself away just to make someone else comfortable. That's not cruelty, that's wisdom. Reason number 2. Saying yes too quickly weakens your value. Not every lesson in life arrives with age. Some truths must be claimed. And one of the hardest truths is this: a woman who agrees too quickly, who always says yes before a man has truly earned it, ends up teaching him not to take her seriously. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, if you want to be respected, begin by respecting yourself. Agreeing too quickly, even when your heart says otherwise, may feel like kindness, but in reality, it's a quiet way of teaching others that your needs matter less. Respect is not given to the woman who yields at every turn. It's given to the woman who values her own voice enough to use it. So let's think back. How many times have you agreed to plans you didn't want, smiled at comments that stung, or let things slide just to avoid tension? In the moment, it feels easier, but over time, that habit of automatic niceness chips away at your worth. Because if every answer is yes, a man stops believing your presence is precious. He begins to see your time, your patience, your care as something guaranteed instead of something valuable. A strong woman over 60 knows that her yes means little unless her no carries weight. Boundaries are what make her approval worth having. When she pauses, reflects, and decides carefully what she will and will not give, she commands a respect that niceness alone could never buy. And here's the irony. Men may resist it at first, but deep down, they're drawn to it. A man doesn't stay for the woman who makes herself endlessly available. He stays for the woman whose presence feels like a gift, not a guarantee. Saying no when it matters doesn't push the right man away. It pulls him closer, because he learns he must rise to meet her standards. So, how should a woman respond? Begin by giving herself the gift of pause. A thoughtful silence before answering speaks louder than a quick yes. Instead of rushing to please, she can gently say, "Let me sit with that," or "It may not be right for me now." These words may seem small, but they carry weight. They remind both her and him that love is not an obligation, but a deliberate choice. And before we go further, make sure to hit the save button. That way, whenever you need a reminder of this wisdom, it'll be right there waiting for you. When you stop handing out yes so freely, you remind a man that your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. But some women still believe that being endlessly agreeable is the only way to keep love alive. The truth is the opposite. Love after 60 grows stronger, not through constant niceness, but through honesty and balance. And that brings us to the next truth: why always putting his comfort above your own slowly erodes the very respect you deserve. Reason number 3. Overcaring turns love into obligation. Niceness often shows itself in the way women care. After 60, many women pour themselves into a man's comfort, cooking his meals, fixing his mistakes, smoothing his moods, all while pushing their own needs aside. It feels like devotion, but slowly it shifts the balance. What begins as love turns into obligation, and obligation is the enemy of respect. My friend Michael and his wife Linda, they've been married for over 35 years, and for most of that time, Linda carried the weight of everything: cooking, cleaning, keeping family ties alive, even smoothing over Michael's bad moods. She thought that was what love meant. But when she finally reached her 60s, she told me she was exhausted. One evening, instead of preparing dinner after a long day, she simply said, "Michael, tonight you'll need to handle it." To her surprise, he didn't complain. He cooked, clumsily, but with effort, and afterward he admitted he had taken her for granted. That one small refusal opened his eyes. Linda's boundary didn't weaken their bond, it deepened his respect for her. When a man never has to earn your care, he stops valuing it. Endless giving doesn't make him love you more, it makes him assume you'll always be there, no matter how he behaves. And when love becomes one-sided service, it ceases to feel like love at all. And if you're wondering what this means for you, let me put it simply. You don't have to stop caring. You just have to care wisely. The next time you feel yourself giving out of habit instead of desire, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to, or because I'm afraid of saying no? If it's the second, give yourself permission to step back. Let him share the responsibility. When you protect your own energy, you're not taking love away, you're teaching him how to truly value it. Because at this stage of life, being too nice by overcaring doesn't deepen a relationship, it drains it. What deepens love is balance. Two people giving, two people respecting, two people carrying each other when the other is tired. And now I'd love to hear from you. What's your own experience with this? Drop a comment below and share your story. Your wisdom might be exactly what another woman needs to read today. Love after 60 isn't about giving until you're empty. It's about balance, respect, and choosing wisely when to give and when to hold back. And that brings us to another mistake many women make: believing that silence in the face of disrespect will somehow protect the relationship. In truth, staying quiet often does more harm than good. And that's the final reason women must stop being too nice to men. Reason number 4. Niceness can hide your true self. At this stage of life, the most painful truth is this: many women are so focused on being nice that they end up hiding who they really are. They hold back opinions to avoid conflict, disguise their needs so they won't feel like a burden, and soften their edges until the man in front of them no longer sees the real woman at all. But here's the danger. When you bury your true self beneath layers of politeness, you don't just lose respect from others, you begin to lose respect for yourself. Love built on constant niceness is fragile because it isn't rooted in honesty. And after 60, honesty is the only soil where real intimacy can grow. From what I've found in my own research, this isn't just theory, the numbers prove it. In a 2023 survey by the National Council on Aging, nearly 68% of women over 60 admitted that they often held back their true opinions in relationships to keep the peace. Yet the same study showed that those who practiced more open, authentic communication reported 42% higher levels of relationship satisfaction compared to women who stayed silent. The path forward isn't about harsher words or colder hearts. It's about authenticity. A woman over 60 has earned the right to stand in her truth without apology, to speak clearly, to share her joys and frustrations, her quirks and her limits, not to provoke, but to live honestly. The right man won't turn away from this. He'll be drawn closer. And the wrong man? Better to let him go than to keep him tied to a version of yourself that was never real. And now we arrive at the place where it all comes together. We've walked through each reason, each truth, each reflection. And now it's time to gather them into one message. At the end of everything we've explored, the truth stands firm. Love after 60 is not preserved by endless niceness, but by the quiet courage to draw lines, to say no, to protect the dignity that life's storms have carved into you. These aren't acts of defiance, they're acts of wisdom. They're the difference between love that drains and love that sustains. And remember that when you stop pleasing at the expense of your own soul, you don't lose love, you refine it. You invite only the kind of love that respects you, honors you, and gives back as much as it takes. As Seneca once said, no person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they do not have. For women after 60, that means no longer chasing approval with niceness, but choosing peace, balance, and respect instead. So if these words spoke to your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Journey After 60, and save it so this reminder will always be near when you need it. And I invite you, share your own story in the comments. How has letting go of being too nice changed the way you love and live? Until we meet again, may you stand in your truth, and may love after 60 be rooted not in sacrifice, but in strength, serenity, and self-respect. Thanks for watching my video, and see you next time.